Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining me today. And today I'm going to be talking all about how to make your plans work for you, not against you. And so for February, my whole theme is talking about planning and making it a smooth process for you in your kids' yoga business. And so we've already talked about my three main types of plan, which is my short, medium, and long term plans, and I have shared a freebie with you about that. So if you haven't already seen that, check that out. I'll pop it in the comments. And you can just download that. That's a really easy, straightforward, simple Word document that you can just download and type into to use or adapt for your own use. That was the first week. And the second week was all about how to fall in love with your planning process. So if you, like me, did not really love the way that you plan and feel like it's overwhelming, boring, takes up a lot of time, then you might want to check out video 2 in the series, which was last week's one. And so this week we're going to be talking all about how to plan with ease and how to make your plan work for you. And so, yeah, this is just a little disclaimer here. I'm going to be sharing with you my process for how I plan my kids' yoga lessons within schools. And so this is not me saying this is perfect, this is brilliant, this is the only way you can do it, this is the right way, this is how you should do it. Not at all. I'm just sharing with you my way that works for me, that I have found works for me, my brain, my lifestyle, and suits me. And so I'm just sharing it with you because I feel like these are things that we don't really talk about, especially in Facebook groups and things like that. There's a lot of useful ideas and help out there, but I don't see anybody actually sharing their process with other people. And so that's what I'm doing today. I'm just going to share with you my process of how I actually plan a half term worth of lessons and how I do it simply, and how I use it to just kind of build on what I already know. And so, yeah, if you find this useful, feel free to magpie my ideas. And if you think, oh, that's just a load of shit, don't use it. Simple as that. But I am interested in hearing about what your thoughts are. So do, comment on the video, or if you want to send me an email, because I'm always intrigued to know your opinions on things. So yeah, here it is. I'm just going to dive in. And so my first stage is my reflection. And so what I do is, I've already talked last week about how I batch my planning. And so I have in front of me my folder, and inside my folder, I've got my previous term's plans. I get them out and then I go through them and I reflect on those lessons. And so usually I have scribbled all over the plans that I've taught and crossed through what I didn't do and written on if I added something in or did something extra. So I just spend some time reflecting on what I did, what I didn't do. And so things that I'm thinking are, what things the children know confidently and can do? What do they, what's like, yes, they know this. And what things did I teach but may not have landed properly? So maybe you taught it but they didn't really get it, or you taught it but you're not confident they already know it, or you just didn't get around to doing it. That can happen too. We plan these lessons and sometimes something happens and it just doesn't happen, or we forget about it because we're human too. So yeah, what are the kids confident with? What have you taught but they don't really get, or you're not confident that they've got it? And what did you want to teach but didn't get round to? So that's my first stage, my reflection. And I might do this on jottings on bits of paper, I might do it on post-it notes or a little notepad, or I might open up a Word document. That's just however I'm feeling on the day. So that's my first stage, my reflection. The next thing that I do is I think about the next steps. So I'll look at each year group in turn and I'll think about, okay, what do these kids need to do next? What's the natural progression for them? What's the next steps that would fit what they already know? And usually actually there's some similarity between the different year groups. So it could be, for example, the children know different poses. So the poses that reception know and the poses that year 6 know are different poses. And maybe you already taught those poses, that those year groups their own poses, but maybe you think, well, actually, we're going to work on yoga flows. And so that's the natural next step, perhaps, for that year group. And obviously, there'll be differences. You won't be teaching year 1 or, what the same things that you'll be teaching year 5. But the actual, the unit of the activity might be the same. So it could be, for example, they know these poses and next we're going to do a yoga flow. And so obviously a different year group will know different poses, but you may still want to get them to think about a yoga flow. But that yoga flow might be different with how many poses you're going to include and what structure and support you're going to give them, all of those things. So yeah, you're thinking of your next steps. That's next. And then when I know the next steps, and actually to say, if you don't know your next steps, if you're not confident with what the children should be learning next and where to go, that's okay. That's totally fine. Maybe send me a message and we could maybe work together and I can help you to figure out what the next step should be. I do one-off mentoring hours where I can help you to figure that out. So yeah, let me know if you're struggling to figure out your next steps and I can definitely help you with that. So the next thing that I do is the actual plan. So I've thought about what we already know. I've thought about what I want to teach them next. And then I'm going to get one plan that I'm going to start with. And I usually start with either nursery or reception, so the simplest form. And I have a go at planning that whole unit of work for that year group. And so it will depend on how many sessions. So I'll normally do a whole half term in one go. And so how that looks for me is I start off with my plan and then I whack in all of the easier, simpler things straight away. And so that could be things like what props am I going to use this half term? And so what props I use will be based on what I haven't used for a while, basically. What have we not used for a while that I think would be really fun and help them to engage? And so if you're not sure how to use props, then you might like to check out the freebie that I've got, which is Top of the Props, which is all our, I love cheesy names. It's all of my 10 top favorite props and how I use them in schools or in my classes, not necessarily in schools. Or you may find the training Props Like a Pro useful, where I also teach you how to use the props to engage and excite, to support and extend, and to teach specific skills within your lessons. So check out those resources. So yeah, I start with one year group or class that I'm going to plan. I whack in the simple things like what props am I going to use, what breathing or mindfulness do I want to use this term, and I put those in first. And I put those in first because they're like the simple things, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I know we haven't used that for a while and I want to use it. Or actually we're going to do some stuff around spring, or I know there's a theme that I'd like to do around Easter, or and so your props will be decided by those things. So I personally whack those in. And then what I do is I add in things that I want to consolidate. So it could be poses that I think they know, but we've not done for a while. Or it could be poses that I know they know and it's just fun to redo. Or it could be like a game that they already know, but we like to do again. So it's like I pop in the things that we're going to revisit. And usually for me, that might come in the form of a warm-up. So my warm-up games are usually the part of the lesson where I revisit things that we've already learned. So it could be like a game where I put on some music and I hold the yoga cards at different times, or it could be like musical mats or things like that. So that's what I do then. So I've put in my simple things like my props, my breathing techniques, my mindfulness things that I want to put in. I've put in things that I want to revisit. And then what I want to do is look back at my next steps. So what did I say this class needed to learn next? And so then I will put those things in. So for example, I might think, yeah, okay, they know these poses. And so now we're going to use these poses to learn how to put together a yoga flow. And so I might put that in. And then here's the magic thing. This is what I discovered to make life really simple for myself is when I've done one plan, saved it, I then use that plan as a basis for all of my others. And so no, I'm not teaching the same thing for every year group, of course. That doesn't work. But what I can do is use the plan as a basis and build on it. And I literally just copy and paste. So I copy what I said I was going to teach for nursery or reception or whatever year group I was starting with. And then I would go into it, I'd save it as, I don't know, year one and think, okay, this is what I'm doing for reception. But year one, what are their next steps? And I would add it, edit and change. And so and then I build on and build on and build on. So I might decide, okay, reception, we were using scarves and we're going to use this particular game. But then in year one, I'm going to still use the same props. So I don't need to write that in again because I simplify and I make life easy for myself. So I use the same props for all classes. Just to make life better and simpler for me. And so then I think, okay, I'm using it in this way for reception, but year one, I'm going to make it a bit more challenging by doing this. And so I edit my plan. And then I look at the poses and think, okay, I'm doing this for reception, but actually year one already know this, or year one I've done this. And so this is where I'm taking year one. And so I go through all of my different plans like that, building on, layering on, and editing. And so that's how I plan my medium-term plans based on one plan. So it's really simple. It's just a matter of reflecting on what the children already know, reflecting on what you think they need to do next. And then it's a matter of putting those two things together and building on to layering up and improving the progression. So I hope you found that really useful and really helpful. And check out the freebies for the plans if you've not already. Check out my previous videos on plans if you haven't already. And if you'd like to work with me, give me an email, julia@juliahankins.co.uk. I would love to work with you and help you to thrive in your kids yoga business. Oh, I had a real difficulty ending the video. Then I was like, where's the button? Where's the button? Goodbye.